going to go.
Yeah.
Then it's all right. Now let's hire staff and let's see what we can do. Let's see where we can go. Let's get open, get some accounts. Let's get those first 10 accounts. Let's get, commission a can line. Like a lot of things that I've kind of put into the plan are finally coming to fruition.
Yeah. And then now you got to look just further past that.
Yeah. Then you just got to keep growing and see and what the business is and what it's going to be.
True. Yeah. So tell us about the mascot Annie and your love of animals. I read that you loved animals, your entire life, and then Annie is, from what the pictures I've seen, are absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. So I am a bio major with a focus on herpetology.
Okay.
And
how'd you get into that?
Ever since I was a kid, I was fascinated. I think most people that liked reptiles as a kid loved dinosaurs when they were little. Then kind of got older and learned about like the natural world. When I was a kid, I wasn't like super into like movie stars and like action people. I liked like 1920s naturalists, and I'd read books about these dudes who'd get on boats and go to Galapagos and go to like Africa and like document all these crazy animals, and it really built this like sense of adventure inside of me.
Interesting.
And then as I got older, I kind of leaned beer, and I've never stopped working with reptiles really.
Wow.
Then our mascot Annie, I've had since I was 14. She's 20 years old. Almost 21 now.
Damn.
And she's named after my grandmother.
Yeah.
And she is a sulcata tortoise.
Okay.
She's somewhere around 100 pounds. And I'll have her till the day I die.
Yeah.
Like she's been with me forever.
How old are they?
80 to 100 years.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that's the story behind Annie. Is I'm a big bio major reptile person. I still to this day have like other reptiles and keep lots of stuff.
Right. Do you have a favorite reptile?
Annie.
Oh, Annie. Well,
yeah, without doubt. Without a doubt. She's the best. Mm-hmm.
Now, y'all took home silver at the 2021 California Craft Brews Cup for your Coffee West Coast IPA. Can you tell us about that experience?
Yeah, that was actually really fun. My dad was actually in town for that festival and got to come receive the award with me. And I had a couple of my other people that worked with me in production. We all went up on stage and were able to receive it together.
That's awesome.
It's a fun beer because I've done coffee IPAs in the past, and I love doing like a West Coast style that's completely, that nice straw color.
Right.
But then when you go to drink it, you're like, how does this taste like coffee? So it's kind of a mind bender, and I generally don't do well in competition when I do things like that because it's so off the general track for judges.
Right.
But yeah, so took home a medal.
Because we got here and we're talking about West Coast IPAs, and it became a big craze in the DFW area because, it's West Coast. Things from California, a lot of the OG beers came from here. So people are like, oh, let's try a West Coast IPA. And they are so all over the place with their, like you mentioned, a lot of them want to do the hazy stuff. And some I've had that are just crazy dry, and I'm just like, where's the good middle ground? So I guess since you are, you know a little bit about West Coast IPAs coming from here, and you make beer yourself, and you won medals for them. Can you tell us exactly what a West Coast IPA is roughly supposed to taste like?
Yeah.
And look like?
You're supposed to have that nice straw color. You're not supposed to be dark. You're not supposed to be super, super crazy pale. You want a simple base malt. The cardinal sin of any West Coast is putting any crystal malt in it.
Okay.
Never put a crystal. You don't want a sweet malt in a West Coast.
Gotcha.
And honestly, the malt presence should just be there to complement the hops. It should not be dominant in any way.
Right.
Then you need to have a little bit of bitterness.
Okay.
You can't completely do all of your hop additions late. You have to do some bittering in there, and even flavor before you get into aroma.
Yeah.
Give yourself something that's a nice, clean, assertive bitterness. OG would be Centennial. Then you go into big, heavy late additions and massive dry hop bombs to get that big floral, tropical, fruity. And if you want to go piney, there you go.
Good to know. Because there is a brewery out in Fort Worth that wants to do a West Coast IPA with me, and I was like, okay, I'm in. I've never brewed one before, but we'll do it.
I'll fly down.
Please do, yeah. He wants to make it super danky, and I'm all about that.
I'm in.
Yeah. So, looking at your beer list on Untappd, y'all are big fans of IPAs. Mm-hmm. What is it about the style that you love so much, and which style of IPA is your favorite?
I'm a single West Coast through and through. I actually have a new beer I'm brewing tomorrow, and it's going to be one of the wedding beers.
Oh,
for my upcoming wedding. It's a 7% with Cryo Strata.
Wow.
Then it also has Simcoe and Nugget.
Right. Damn.
Yep. So it's just going to be dank.
Do you have a name for it?
We're working on a couple different names.
Okay.
There's one that's going to be a private label for the event, but I think it's going to be called Surfin' the ECH.
Okay.
And the label on it's going to be a sea turtle, like a very kind of cool, like tribal sea turtle looking from a local artist that comes to the tap room all the time.
Nice.
And the ECH is the East Australian current.
Okay.
That these big monster sea turtles use to navigate.
Oh, Finding Nemo.
Yeah, exactly. Crush.
Yeah,
and that's how they get around like massive distances. They ride these currents and they eat and stuff.
Wow.
So that's kind of playing on, the kind of brand and adventure and reptiles and also a beer.
Yeah, your artwork on your cans and everything is very awesome. Do you guys use the same? Will you use different artists? Okay.
Mm-hmm. I've done quite a few of them. Then I've commissioned other local artists I've collaborated with. Then I also have a couple different graphic designers I use to do them all.
That's cool. I like that you are using different ones because there's a lot of times people stick with one. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's also good to give back to the community when it comes to artists, and LA is no shortage of artists by any means.
Yeah, and we got a lot of really talented people. I feel like when you do something creative and real, it drives other people that are doing creative and real things together.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing of the tap room, is it just brings in different opinions, different cultures, different vibes, different skills, different, and that's been really helpful with labels and design and things like that.
Right.
Because I want to give everybody a forum.
As you should, yeah. I've always said that breweries really should be a hub for the community. As much as some people it's like, that's where people go get drunk or whatever. That's not the case. There's people that come here that they'll come do work here, or they'll come, hey, haven't seen a friend in forever, or I'm having a birthday party, or even a kid's birthday party. Like, this is a place that people can come, feel safe, and talk and bullshit, and after maybe a couple pints, you might be talking to your neighbors, and all of a sudden they're connecting, and fucking 3 years down the line they're getting married or whatever. So just the randomness and greatness of people coming together, I think, is what people are kind of missing when it comes to breweries. That's
kind of how the idea of why I wanted to start a brewery happened.
Okay.
So back when I was in college, Tuesday was always my day off from work, and I didn't have class, and I would brew. And I did a thing at my house called I Love Tuesdays. And if you know anything about brewing, it's about 20 minutes of work condensed into about 5 hours.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of hanging out. So at that time, I've always had a bar at my house, and I had 6 to 8 beers on tap.
Yeah.
And I'd have my friends that knew it was my day off, and they'd come over. I'd have like the early birds, I'd have the lunch crew, I'd have the after work crew, and I'd have the late night crew, and we'd kill like 3 kegs.
Jeez.
Yeah. And
that's impressive.
What started happening was it became like a whole, everyone's like, all right, Tuesday we're going to Joe's. And one of my friends was moving, and I went over to help him move, and I saw like 3 or 4 other people that I knew, and I'm like, how do you guys know each other? Like, oh, we met at your house. And that was one of the big aha moments of, wait, I can bring people together with beer?
Yeah.
I want to do that. Yeah. That sounds awesome. And that's kind of, that culture and that vibe and that kind of feeling is what started it all, and still emanates from this place to this day. I've made lifelong friends that I've met in the tap room, and other people that are, all through this whole entire just catalyst of beer, bringing people together.
I love that so much, because that's essentially what it should be all about. I love going to different breweries and be like, oh hey, I know that person, but I don't know them because I've seen them at other places. Like there's a guy that we've seen countless times. There's one time he stopped me. I don't know who he thought I was or who he thinks I am, but we got a picture together, and I was like, I've never met this guy before, but sure, I'll take a picture with him. I've seen him multiple times since, and then Black Fridays, we normally go, we call it goose hunting. We go find the Bourbon County variances and all that. So we ended up at a brewery, False Idol, in North Richland Hills, and he was there, and I was like, oh, hey, what's up? He was like a bottle share, but like he was the only one putting out bottles. And it was stuff that like my buddy leaned over, was like, that's like a $200 bottle of beer. And I was like, good thing we're here because we're we're all enjoying it.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing, like you said, the people you'll see and meet and interact with at a brewery. So
100%.
Yeah.
It's great.
I love it. So you not only like to showcase different artists here with your artwork, but you bring in different food vendors regularly. How important is it to showcase local food vendors? Because as we know anything about the culture of California, food trucks are not, there's no shortage. So how do you pick them? And then do they come to you? Do you come to them? Or is it just one of those like, well, come on down?
I'm always on the hunt.
Okay.
I probably get about 10 emails a month minimum from people reaching out that want to come pop up.
Yeah.
And I'll, I don't want someone just to be doing something or just, I'm just doing this to means to an end. That doesn't excite me. Nothing, that's never excited me in my life.
Because there's no passion in the food.
Exactly. So I look for people that are genuinely doing real things or bringing food to the market that is from their community or their family or their, so I try to keep it varied. I try to keep it fun. I do have a good, probably about 10 that I rotate through that I really, really like that are doing genuine cool things.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're going to show up and give a shit, that's, one of my main prereqs.
Yeah. It is true because there's so many chefs out there that, again, they're just doing it because they've kind of always been good at making food and they're blah, 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 whatever. Yeah. But the people who actually are putting the passion and the love in it, like, you can literally taste that. That's why the food is so good so many times.
Yeah, I've had lots of food vendors I've tried over the years, and it's just like, you go in and you're just like, this looks like it should be awesome.
Yeah.
Your descriptions are amazing and everything looks right. But you're just missing that one thing, the passion behind it and the love of what you're doing.
Yeah, it's true.
So I try to bring in at least one or two new ones a month and see how they do and rotate them through.
Yeah. Now, we talked about it a little bit before, so you guys are right by SoFi Stadium. WrestleMania was just there this past weekend, that's where I was. Super Bowl was there last year, and then the YouTube Theater, which, is that just, like, what's the capacity on that? Is that just concerts come through there?
Concerts go through there, but I'm not sure the capacity.
Okay.
It's not little.
No. But, so, how much of the trickle effect do you get coming either before or after the case? I guess before.
So the first year with football, we had a huge before. Then this season it was all after.
Interesting.
So I'm not really sure what changed or why, but it just depends on the show. It depends on the concert. But I'll be, I'm in the back grinding it out, doing this, doing that. I get into the zone. Then I'll come out into the tap room to check something or do something. I'm like, this is a weird crowd in here.
Yeah.
Let's go. This is not the normal group of people. And then I ask somebody in the tap room. They're like, oh yeah, we're all going to the, the Paul McCartney concert. Oh, we're all going to the. Oh, that's cool. How'd you find out about us? Oh, we just Googled like places to go, and we got a really nice Eater LA write up.
Awesome. Okay.
Yep. So that's been, when you type in like places to go in Inglewood before SoFi, that comes right up.
See, I was looking for things yesterday, and that didn't come up, which I thought was weird. The Weaver's place did, though.
Yeah, it's the same article.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know them.
Well, they pay for all the SEO and all
that's what I was thought.
Yeah,
give me a map, and I'll figure it out that way, but I didn't. But I was like, okay, I'll be here on Monday, so we're not going to worry about it.
There you go.
Yeah, but it worked out really well. Now, I want to talk about the pandemic, but not in, obviously, a political way, the way everybody else likes to talk about it, because who cares? It happened. So we can't go back and change anything. But every state and every city handle things differently. California was obviously much different than they were where I'm from in Texas, where things were far more wide open than they were anywhere else. Can you just, I guess, touch on the magic pivot word and then how you guys kind of made it through, as opposed to some breweries which you were telling me had to close because...
I don't know if it was the pandemic or just trends have changed or their business wasn't doing. I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
So we went from having a tap room that had been open about a year at that point.
Wow.
We were just starting to hit our stride. We had about 150 outside accounts. We were essentially cruising. Then I think it was like March 13th or 14th or something, everything closed.
Yeah.
Every single outside account had to close their tap room. I had to close my tap room. And the way that the only thing we could do was sell beer to go.
Yeah.
So I opened up the front and made a whole entire thing and started promoting,